Welcome into the halftime show here on the PAC Sports Network. We're at the half between Waynesburg and Westminster, and we're now joined by head men's basketball coach at Waynesburg University, Coach Tim Fusina. Coach, wonderful to have you join us today. How's the season been so far for you and your team?
Up and down. First off, thanks for having me, Jack. I appreciate you doing this and love doing this when we have our game of the week. But we've been up and down. Had some injuries. We're actually going through an injury right now to our grad student Matt Popek. But we've been up and down for about 3 months now. Played really well in our last game against St. Vincent on the road. Beat a pretty strong St. Vincent team. We've had some decent wins, but we've been inconsistent, I guess is the word I'll use. Lost 5 conference games at home by I think a total of 21 points. Had some leads late, lost those. We're right on the edge of being, I think, pretty good. But when you're on that edge, you're not there yet. So I mean, our inconsistency has been a problem most of the year.
Well, I know, like you mentioned, a couple very close games that you guys have been in recently. I know you mentioned the St. Vincent win, and then you go back a close loss to Bethany and a close loss in double overtime as well. A couple overtime losses, mind you. I mean, what has that actually shown you, though, about this team and their resilience and their ability to just battle to the final second?
Yeah, I mean, it's shown to me that we can compete with anyone in the PAC. I think going into the year, losing our best post player, Najon Kirkman, who was a grad student last year, but bringing a lot of guys back. I think it shows that our program is in a good spot. We just haven't gotten the results that we've wanted. I think some nights we deserved a better fate. I think other nights we've deserved the fate that we got. But I think what those nights have shown us, the ones that we've lost close, is that we're close. We're knocking on the door. We're just waiting for some more consistency where we can close out a game, where it doesn't get to overtime, where it doesn't get to double overtime, where we block out at the end, or we take care of the ball at the end, or we make a couple open shots at the rim when we need them. So I mean that's been our problem all year. But I think it shows that we can beat anybody in this league.
Well, you mentioned the aspect of consistency, and I think one player in particular that's been really consistent for you lately is Anton Baker, and he's been a really nice emergence for you on your team. What does his presence do for your team as a whole, offensively, but then also defensively?
He provides a ton of energy, whether he's starting, which I think his role right now is to be one of our starting 5. He's come off the bench. He started some games. He's been our 6th man most of the year. He provides energy. Defends our opponent's best post player, his athleticism, his strength, his ability to score around the basket. I could not be more pleased with Anton this year. To be honest with you, he's his first 2 years here, he didn't see a lot of time. Last year saw more time as a sophomore than he did as a freshman, but still didn't see probably the time that he thought he needed. We had a good couple discussions in the off season about what he needed to do to get better, and to his credit, the credit is all to him. He has taken coaching, he has taken instruction, and has developed into, I think, one of the better players in the league, probably the most athletic, and probably one of the better players, one of the better defenders in the league too, because of how hard he plays and how physical he is. And the improvements he's made over the past 12 months, I could not be more proud of his effort and his commitment to what we're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it right there. One of the most athletic players in the conference for sure, and a blast to watch. We had the coverage a few weeks ago for your game against Bethany, and he was definitely a fun one to cover for sure. But I want to get back into another player that you mentioned, Matt Popek, and I know that he's injured right now, but a grad student, been around the block. He's got a lot of veteran, a lot of experience under his belt. What has it been like having him back on the team to kind of be that leader, be that guider for a lot of the younger players? And how have you seen other players step up in his absence as of late?
Matt, and I've said this before, Matt has a lot of credibility because of what he's done in his career here. So guys look to him for leadership, and Matt has done a great job in his time here providing that leadership. Guys have, kind of changed how they've had to play without Matt in the lineup. We've had to have guys that, maybe not defer to him, but look to him to score a little bit more with him out of the lineup. Guys like Jake Scheidt, guys like Bryson Wilt, Jansen Knotts, even Anton Baker have had to score a little bit more, be a little more aggressive offensively. Someone like Scott Belovis, a freshman from West Allegheny High School, has taken some of the time that that we missed with Matt and has started to score a little bit more too.
Well, I think that's great that you've got, a team that's able to step up and is able to kind of answer that call when their number is called. And I want to get into the most recent victory you had against St. Vincent, especially with how you guys were able to bounce back after the loss that you had against Bethany. What was it that you guys really focused on during that in-between time between Bethany and St. Vincent that clearly really worked for you guys?
I didn't think we competed against Bethany. I thought we had an issue with our competitiveness, and I don't know what that stems from, because I don't think that's something that if you walked into our gym every day, you would see a team that takes it easy. I think we try to compete every day, but I thought against Bethany, we did not compete at all after the first half. And then you saw the result that we got there. So leading up to the St. Vincent game, we made everything in practice a competitive situation, talked about competing, showed them clips of us competing, but also showed them clips of us not competing. And again, I think that speaks to our inconsistency. And we spoke about that. And I thought for the 40 minutes we played up in Latrobe last week, we controlled the entire 40 minutes. There got to a point with about 10, 12 minutes left that game was kind of over. So we competed very hard on Wednesday night up at St. Vincent. And again, that shows that we can compete with any team in this league, especially a team as big and athletic and quick as St. Vincent is. We're able to control a 40-minute game against them. So, again, we had to get back to competitiveness. That was the thing that we preached leading up to St. Vincent, and that's the thing we've been preaching leading up to Westminster too.
Yeah, definitely a great, kind of sign there from your team that they're able to answer that and kind of, come back and bounce back after, a tough loss like they suffered against Bethany. But Coach, I want to get into a role that you also have at Waynesburg, and that is the Assistant Athletic Director for NCAA compliance. And I would love to hear, especially in this new age of, the transfer portal and compliance and this, that, and the third and all that other good stuff. What does that role look like for you? And how does it kind of help out with your coaching?
That's a good question. How it helps with my coaching is I really don't have an answer for that. I don't know. I don't really see both intertwining that much. The role with compliance is something that I had at my previous institution when I was at California Lutheran University. When I came back here, kind of transitioned into that role after my first full season here as head coach. So it gives you some perspective on how other sports are run. I think when sometimes you're involved in basketball, you kind of stay in that bubble of, okay, I know what my season's like and what players are like and things like that. You get another sense for what other student athletes are feeling, what other student athletes think, what other coaches think, and how they operate their programs with rules that they kind of aren't your own either, in terms of playing in practice seasons, non-traditional seasons, traditional seasons, things that we don't have in winter sports. Kind of gives you a better perspective of how other programs and other sports are run.
Well, I think it's great that you're able to kind of see that, see the maybe the other side of the fence, if you will, for some of these other sports. And like you said, how they're kind of run from the inside out. But Coach, it's been great to have you here on the halftime show. Before we let you run, I want to hear from you what you think is going to be key and really important for your team down the stretch of the season to make a final push towards the playoffs.
It's going to be our competitiveness, how hard we play on a night in and night out basis. Because again, like going back to what we spoke about before, I think we're close and we can compete with anybody in the league. It's just those nights that, will we be competitive over the next 6 games? Will we be competitive? And I don't mean competitive from a score standpoint. I mean, will we show up and compete for 40 minutes? And I think when we do that, I believe we're as good as anybody, or we have the ability to beat anybody in the league. When we don't have that, anybody in the league can beat us. And we've seen that throughout the year.
Well, Coach, we wish you guys nothing but luck moving forward here on the PAC Sports Network. And again, we thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Jack. I appreciate it.
That's Waynesburg's head coach, Tim Fusina. Folks, don't go anywhere, as we'll be right back here for more second half action between Waynesburg and Westminster right here on the PAC Sports Network.